Hello and welcome to Legends of. Today we are taking a look at a legend of Minnesota, the Witches of Loon Lake. Loon Lake Cemetery sits atop a hill overlooking Loon Lake and can be seen for miles around. For years, the cemetery sat neglected, with no upkeep and no road to it, meaning it was only visited by those who dared to hike through the local wilderness to it. Now, at the time, only 18 of the original graves remained, and with no one having been buried there in almost 100 years, the cemetery was left abandoned. But still, many people visited the cemetery for one reason: the legend of the witches. According to the legend, a young girl named Mary Jane was accused of being a witch and was beheaded, her body and head both being buried in the cemetery, but in different locations. Over the next year, 2 more women would be found to have been working with Mary Jane and were also put to death. All 3 witches were buried in Loon Lake Cemetery, and it is said due to their power, strange things would happen in the cemetery, and their power would also cause more paranormal activity than was normal. But the part of the legend that most people come for is Mary Jane herself. It is said that as the leader of the witches, she was the most powerful, and even in the death, she remained powerful enough to curse anyone who would dare step on the location her body was buried. Anyone who would step on her body was cursed to die within 3 days. What made this legend even scarier is that Mary Jane's grave was not marked, and you didn't know if you were going to accidentally step on her grave. Now, people have attributed several deaths to Mary Jane and her curse, not to mention many more people who say they have experienced weird and paranormal events at and around the cemetery. Now, Mary Jane was in fact a real girl who died in the 1860s at the age of 17, and she is indeed buried in the Loon Lake Cemetery. But there is no account and no proof that she was a witch or executed. Nor is there any reason to believe that these other 2 women that happened to die within a year of her were related to witchcraft or even knew Mary Jane, for that matter. Now, in recent years, the cemetery has been revitalized by a local committee dedicated to upkeep, restoration, and education. Along with keeping the grounds preserved, they are also in the process of hunting down some of the original stones that may have been stolen over the years. Now, while it's just a legend, if you ever visit Loon Lake Cemetery, it's probably best to watch your step, just in case.